We'll visit with two secondary ISD teachers who won the coveted AWARE Award. Next, here on Conversations. Welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Jeannie Curtis. The AWARE Foundation has been honoring teachers for over the last 20 years for outstanding teaching at their annual Spring Awards Banquet. AWARE stands for Arlington will award and recognize educational excellence. On today's show, we feature the 2012-2013 AWARE Award secondary winners. Martin High School teacher Marilyn Clanton and Boles Junior High teacher and coach Cory Singer.
All right, well, I went to North Texas. I was a finance major, and after college, went into a regular corporate type setting and decided to just pursue what I wanted to do all along anyway, was to coach and teach. Got an alternative certification, and really my first interview was with Arlington and got sent over to Boles, and I've been here since. This is my 4th year, and it's been great. I've always taught 8th grade math, 8th grade regulars math, and I love that more than maybe teaching AP or anything like that. I like the regulars kids, and I have a lot of fun. So.
I saw you playing basketball with one of the other coaches, and the students were cheering you on, especially after you hit a three-pointer. It was like you scored the winning shot.
Well, it was funny because they were kind of doing that the whole period. Like whenever I would shoot, I make it, then they would run out on the court and yell and scream and just acting funny. And so I guess they just hammed it up for the camera. As soon as they saw the camera, they're like, "Oh, we're just going to tackle them and lift them up." So that was pretty cool.
Looks like you're having Italian for lunch. What's this about?
For my 5th period class, we raised money for cancer. I told them at the beginning of it, whatever you guys raise, I'll match it at the end. So it was a hot competition between my class and a couple other classes. And on the last day, they ended up bringing like $50 extra. So we ended up at close to $150. So I matched that, and we won by like $15 or something like that. So not a very slim margin, but we got rewarded with an Olive Garden party. We're going to have that today during class. So yeah, I was proud of them for raising a lot of money. A lot of kids that don't really get much involved in the class, and kind of kept to themselves. And then next thing I know, I'm collecting money, and then they pull out $40, and it's like, whoa, so that was pretty cool.
Breast cancer awareness must be special to you, since I noticed you're wearing a pink necklace.
Yeah, I wear this necklace every day, but my aunt died from breast cancer, so it's something that's close to me, so I wear it all the time.
Did you have a coach that inspired you to want to be a coach?
I always kind of wanted to coach. Just my coaches growing up influenced me. I really was able to see how coaches can turn around a whole program. Like my high school wasn't very good for the most part, me growing up, and then most of my high school career, we were mediocre at best. But my senior year, we got a bunch of coaches from Lamarck, and they had already won state championships at the 4A level, and they brought like their whole staff, and it was almost an immediate turnaround. Like my senior year, we went to the playoffs, and we hadn't been in about 20 years, and then just progressively got better and better after that. And they finally got all the way, about 3 years ago, they won the state championship. So, and it's the same, core group of coaches that were there, like my first year, my senior year there. So, just kind of growing up, in sports and everything, I realized, what a big influence coaches have on the program and on the kids and everything. So I've always wanted to coach, and honestly, I wasn't sure how much I would like the teaching, but it's been a great surprise. Ever since the first day, I've loved the classroom as much as I love it out there on the field. So, it's good. The coaching, I love that, and the teaching as well. You just get to see two aspects of it. You get to see the kids outside their classroom element, how you might not normally see them. A lot of teachers may not get to see them that way. They only see them in the classroom, so I like that. I won Teacher of the Year last March, so the last 14 months have been just, I can't believe, incredible. Just with winning Teacher of the Year and, winning the AWARE Award, even just getting nominated, but then actually winning it, and then, academically, my kids have been performing well. Sports-wise, we won 2, football city championships in that time frame. And so just everything's just been clicking. It's like, I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I'm loving all parts of it right now.
Had you heard about the Aware Award before you were nominated?
I did. There was a teacher here, Carla Maxwell, who won it about 6 years ago. And so I saw the award on her desk, and I asked her about it like back then when I was like my first year. And so she told me about that then. So I knew what it was kind of before I was nominated. And then Mr. Providence this year, told me that he was nominating me, and I was a little surprised because this is his first year and he didn't know that much about me. I know he had observed me once in class before, and so I was definitely honored to get nominated for that. And the whole process was, at first I thought it was going to be stressful, just with all the observers in class and not knowing how the kids would react and everything, but I mean, it turned out to be great. I mean, they treat you like a superstar, and they, after every observation, they leave you a note and tell you what they liked about your class. So you get that positive, reinforcement that you don't always get sometimes. So, it's been, the whole process is great. If anybody, gets nominated, I'm happy for them, because just the whole ordeal, whether you win or not, is good to experience.
Aware Night. When did you realize that you were the junior high winner?
At one point I did. Once they started to read a little bit more and they talked about like the latest videos and things of that nature, I kind of had a little inkling that, because I think that part was like an excerpt from one of the letters that one of the teachers had written. So I kind of remembered that, and I was like, oh, I think that's me. And I was like, no, not yet, not yet. Not until they, said my name that I was, obviously for sure. But once they started reading more and more, I started to smile a little bit bigger. Oh man, this is like a blur. Like I just got up, hugged my mom. She had come in from Houston, and I just walked up. I can't even remember. I was just like smiling, I'm sure, just ear to ear, just clapping, and I was excited. I was like, don't trip, don't trip, don't trip, as I'm going up the stairs. And it was just a kind of surreal moment. I still look back at it as like it happened so quick. But then, in the time, it seemed like it was taking forever. I was like, oh, when are we going to find out? But yeah, it was all just overwhelming. I wouldn't have thought that I was going to win it. And it was just a surprise, and I was just excited. And I'm walking down the stairs, all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, if I fall right now. Yeah, I mean, they give you all, a lot of stuff. I already hung up my plaque, Rick Perry, and...
Did anybody say anything about you winning the next day?
I was off the next day, but yeah, when I got back on, Monday, I had, my inbox was full of emails, and, I was walking through the halls, and everybody saying congratulations, and parents were saying congratulations, and, I got a bunch of calls on Friday because we're on the website, and, I mean... It went up on the website quick. It went up on the website like that night, and I was like, oh. And so yeah, I even got calls that night. I was like, oh, already. So I mean, that was cool. And this on our Boles website, so parents who go to our website see it, and so it's been nice just to get congratulations, and it's a.
Any thoughts on how you're going to spend your prize money?
Yeah, well, I had already just said that if I won, half will go to bills and student loans and all that kind of stuff. So half has already gone to that, and the rest is just kind of there. I'm going to Costa Rica actually this weekend, so some of it will get spent in Costa Rica, and the rest just on whatever, this summer and relaxing. Actually, the Spurs just made the finals. I'm a big Spurs fan also, so I'm going to try to see if I can make a trip down. So probably some of the money will go to, see if I can watch a finals game. So.
Have you thought about giving your speech next year?
I have so much anxiety over that speech already. I'm just thinking, because all the speakers were so good this year, I'm just like, and I'm sure they'll all be great next year, and I'm just like, oh, I got to come up with something. I got to have try to have some comedy in there, I guess, and some sentimental value and everything. So I don't know. I need to start trying to write it. I said last night, not last night, but the night I won, I was like, I got to start writing my speech like tomorrow. So I have a whole year to prepare, but I sit down and just focus on it. I think it'll be all right. But yeah, there's a little anxiety going on with that speech that I can already start to feel, and it's still a year out. So
I noticed your students love playing trash-get-ball.
Yes, they love the trash ball for whatever. I can get them to work more problems doing this than almost anything else. Any other game I come up with, it's not as good, or any game I get from online or whatever. It's never as good as trash ball. We can play trash ball all day, and they'll solve 100 problems in a row, and always want to do the next one. Versus, it's hard to, if I do 5 just examples in front of the class, then they're like, oh, another one. And it's weird how just letting them shoot after they get it, changes the whole, perception of what we're doing that day. So I try to play this, quite a bit, just because, I can get good review out of them with it and get them to work, a lot of problems and, figure some things out. So, yeah, this is my favorite game. I picked it up probably a couple years ago, in my second year, and I've been using it ever since.
Up next, our high school award winner, Miss Clanton.
I've been teaching in the Arlington School District for 39 years. I was hired right out of college. I spent the first 5 years at the Old Nichols Junior High teaching reading and grammar. When Young was built, I was asked by Mr. Burdett to help open the building, and I was teaching 7th grade English, continuing from Nichols. I also was the yearbook sponsor. In 1999, I decided I needed a change after 25 years, so I came to Martin, and I've been at Martin for the last 14 years. I started here teaching 9th grade English along with junior English. I quickly evolved into getting involved in the pre-AP, AP program, and now I teach AP English language to juniors.
Marilyn, I'm guessing from all the trophies, banners, and mums in behind you and around the whole room that you must be involved in something else besides teaching.
Well, for 12 years, soon after I came to Martin, they were looking for a cheerleading sponsor, and I was going to do it for a couple of years, just fill in and help in, and for 12 years I became the freshman cheer coach. Something I really, really loved and enjoyed doing. However, bleachers get a little hard in the fall after 12 years of them, and I decided to do something different. So the day I resigned from being the cheerleading coach, there was an opening for the National Honor Society sponsor, so I took on that role instead. Ever since I've been involved in teaching, and even looking back to my own days as a student, extracurriculars were always very important. They were important to me, so I know they're important to students. And even at my days at Nichols, I was always involved as a sponsor of some sort, whether it be developing the yearbook, student council, sponsoring a pep club. There was always a need for someone to volunteer extra time, and that's what I've done.
At the Aware Awards night, when did you realize that you had won?
I'm not really sure that I equated to a lot of the winners, probably because they all seem so young. I seem like the oldie in the group, but their passion for teaching was, I think, the commonality among all of us, that all of these new people with all of these innovative ideas was something that I really appreciated. But I think when it comes down to it, it was the passion for teaching and the love for students that was the common bond among all of us.
When they said 39 years of teaching, your face lit up.
There probably wasn't very many of us in that room that fell into that kind of category, so I pretty much knew at that point that I was it. And it was a very emotional time, quite an honor. It takes your breath away, actually, for you to get that kind of accolade after 39 years. My family was there. My husband was next to me, and my 2 daughters that are both Martin grads were there. And I remember I stood up and I hugged my family just before I went up on the stage.
Managing the stairs on the way back and all the awards in your hand was a challenge.
Oh yeah, very difficult. It's a little bit overwhelming, but in a good way.
How did you plan on spending your prize money?
Next year is my 40th year. I will have been teaching in this district straight out of college, and to quote Thoreau, it's time to live other lives. It's a big part of me, but it's something that I'm thinking that next year, being the 40th, it will be my last. And my husband and I would like to travel. So I think the money might go toward my retirement travels as a nice addition to what I would like to see and do and so forth. So,
have you thought about next year's speech?
Immediately. Ironically, the night that we got home from the banquet, obviously it was kind of, the adrenaline was going, it was very difficult to settle down and to sleep that night, and what kept going over in my mind was thoughts that I had that I might put in my speech. All of the speeches were so good. I thought, oh my gosh, I have to do this next year, so what am I going to say? So yes, I thought about my speech all that night. I haven't had a lot of time since then, but I know it will be on my mind this summer when there's some downtime and throughout the year, because I have a hard act to follow. Those were excellent speeches.
I noticed that you don't have a lot of technology use in your classroom. It looks as though you only require that the students bring their minds.
That's true. That's true. This is AP English Lang. So these kids are preparing for a college level exam. The technology pretty much goes away as far as them writing essays and answering the questions for the test. What we do is talk about a lot of current issues. So instead of working with the technology and getting into all of the new innovations, we're talking about what's current in news and in society. These kids have to bring evidence into what they write about, into their arguments. So they have to be current on today's issues and pop culture and history and current events. And so we try to make what we're doing in the classroom relevant to them and to what's going on in society. I think you can extend the kids' minds without using a lot of technology. They won't even get to type their essays on a computer. They have to handwrite them. So this is coming back to doing it the old way. I think the topics that we talk about are current, and let the kids know what's relevant in today's society. But the use of technology is not really part of what this curriculum is about. College Board actually says for this course they want to see students of the world. They want them knowledgeable. They want them to know how everyday situations relate to these topics and to the arguments and so forth. And they go on the internet, they study and so forth, and we talk about these. But mostly it's just sharing what they know with one another through class discussion. I don't really have a textbook. We have a book for this class. It's a college level book, but I pull from a multitude of different sources, and I show video clips from 60 Minutes. I will show them some biographical clips from videos and that type of thing. But I pull from articles, I pull from essays, I pull from all kinds of things. So in itself, it's a pretty unique course. So the kids that do well in this course have a chance of clipping out of freshman comp so that they don't take English in college. But the writing that we do, whether it's analyzing an argument or synthesizing information into an argument or writing their own argument, is the kind of skill that they'll need for any college course. And I think that's why the kids enjoy taking this course. They see the relevancy and how they can use it going forward. So it's not your typical English course. We don't study a lot of literature in here. So for these kids that want to learn how to write but don't want to be English majors, it's a good course for them to take.
I got C because it symbolizes Gatsby's dream of Daisy, that he wished for her and he longed for her, and he looked across the bay and wished he could have her.
So what was B?
I thought B. I thought C was too specific, so I went with B because it kind of like it was a more general statement and it didn't really just go with Gatsby's ideal of Daisy as his dream. So.
Well, why is your choice B?
I kind of forgot. Just that, but yeah.
I think Andrew's choice.
It's had to post Tyler because.
Yeah.
He's Tyler.
And Matt also got B.
I also got B.
Well, I thought the answer to that question was C. The author's purpose was to expose the corrupting power of money and how it changed people into these kind of crazy people and did like crazy. I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but it, in essence, corrupted people and changed them for most times the worst.
All right, I agree with Charlie. I also got C.
I got B, which was the duality of the American dream, where people try to achieve stuff, but they also never really quite get what they want.
All right, I'll change my agreement to Matt's.
Yeah, I would say B too, just to agree with Matt, because you can't argue with that.
I agree with B.
When did you know you wanted to be a teacher? Was there a teacher that inspired you?
Yes, I can remember in 5th grade that I had a 5th grade teacher named Mrs. Turner that really inspired me, and I went into, nothing serious, but I went into the hospital for a few days, and she sent me cards and letters and math problems. Her family got involved, and I could really tell that she cared. And as I went through school, I seemed to always pick out those very special teachers. My parents inspired me by telling me that education was the most important thing that I could do in my life. My dad only finished the 10th grade and my mom only finished the 8th grade. So to them, to make sure that I got an education was extremely important. And there was never a question that I would go to college. So I always found a teacher. Every year I can track back through, there was always a teacher that made a huge difference in my life. And from 5th grade on, I decided that I wanted to be one of those individuals because teachers really make a difference in kids' lives.
Sometimes they are the only role models.
Sometimes they are. Sometimes they are the only role models. And every kid needs to have someone that they can go to or that they can remember or that they have felt inspired by. Sometimes the classroom is the safest place for the kid during the course of the day. And when I look back, I can always see those teachers that I love learning, and there was always a teacher that inspired me to do that. And my parents as well. I think they wanted, the old adage, they wanted more for me than they had. And to them it was education, and I understood that was what was going to open the doors.
Winning the Aware Award came at a very stressful time in your life, so it had a little extra meaning to it.
Yeah, the past couple of years have been very stressful. A lot of personal issues, illnesses and deaths in the family. The birth of my second grandchild came at a good time, but the last couple of years have been very stressful. And in the midst of dealing with some personal issues, this Aware Foundation honor came. So I think it was maybe even more emotional than it might have been under other circumstances. So that was a nice thing to happen at that particular time, at any time actually, but especially in a time of personal turmoil. It was good.
I know last year that you graded papers for College Board. Can you talk about that experience?
I applied several years ago, and there's a waiting list to get in to be a reader, as they call it, where we read and score the exams that the kids take on the AP test. And so I went to Louisville, Kentucky last year and was a reader for the first time. It was quite an experience with millions of essays going by. I think I graded 850 in 9 days' time. And I learned a lot from the kids. Like, for example, didn't know that Louis Armstrong and Lance Armstrong walked on the moon. Those were some interesting tidbits that the kids shared. I also learned that Benjamin Franklin was the one that discovered electricity, and Martin Luther King Jr. freed the slaves. They have a lot of information that they give us in these arguments, but they don't always get it exactly accurately. I really felt like it was for the experience to be able to come back into the classroom and tell the kids this is what they look for when they grade your essays. We see samples go by and they give us the sample scores and some editing comments and so forth. But I really felt like as I started teaching AP Lang that the firsthand experience of seeing where the essays go and what they actually look for the grading was invaluable information to share with my kids. And so I will fly out on June 8th and come back on the 16th. So the first 10 days of my summer vacation will be spent grading these essays.
What one piece of advice can you share with students about how to make their writing better for the AP testing?
There's some basic things. The kids need to be very, very well organized, concise, to the point, well organized, and they need to back up what they say with concrete evidence. So those are some of the things that we look for. They also look for voice and personality. Over the years when we were doing all of the standardized testing with teams and TOS and TAX and all of the tests that we've given, we went through a period of time that we taught the 5-paragraph essay, and it needed to be very formulaic. Now the new trend is if it's formulaic, it's going to receive a low score. They want the kids to show their own personality, their own voice in these essays. So that's something they'll definitely look for.
Again, I would like to congratulate our secondary aware winning teachers, Cory Singer and Marilyn Clanton. Also, our elementary teachers from our last show, Jennifer Marsh from Dunn Elementary, winner in the pre-K through 1st grade category, choir teacher Johnny Maples, winner in the 3rd to 4th grade category, and science teacher Brooke Burris, who is the 2012-2013 Aware teacher in the 5th to 6th grade category. I would like to thank the Aware Foundation for their continued support of our Arlington ISD educators, and I want to thank you as well for watching. I'm Jeannie Curtis, and we'll see you next time here on Conversations.